Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm back in Paracas, back in the south, about 3 hours south from Lima. So I've got my last few days here before I head back to the UK. As a treat for all the work we've been doing, we've come down here to spend a few days relaxing. However, the news never stops though, so we're going to go straight into a news story, and this is about a 30-meter yacht sinking off the coast of Milos in Greece, off a Greek island, and the vessel is called Yacht Aquitania. It was built by Cantieri di Pisa in Italy in 1980. The story is that the vessel sank in, the news article said it sank in high winds and choppy weather. Now I don't know whether you know what choppy means, but choppy generally means that it's a little bit rough, but it's not that bad. I have a feeling that what they're trying to say is that the vessel sank. Maybe it's, I don't know whether they didn't use the word capsize, but it basically sank in rough weather. There were 18 people on board, which is important. We'll go back to that in a minute. There were 18 people on board. I think they were all Greek nationals. A British news article said that it was a British ship, but it probably had a red ensign on it, but that does not mean it's British. So it was most likely registered in Cayman Islands or somewhere like that, and it had a British ensign. And the people who made the report don't really know about the yacht flags and stuff like that. I've been unable to confirm if it's actually registered in the UK. But the Greek Ministry of Shipping said that 18 people had been rescued. So details about the vessel is a 30 meter or approximately 100-foot yacht. Like I said, built in 1980, and it was refit in 2021. It was refit this year, so it's just come out of a refit. So those are the stats basically of the story, if you like. Now, I have some theories. Now these are theories, so you know when you watch this video, be sure to note that I have no knowledge beyond what I've just read to you. But I'm going to go on, based on my experience, that I'm going to go on what I think might have happened or possible causes. So the vessel didn't catch fire, it wasn't a fire. The vessel was just refit in 2021. So as soon as I read some of these stories, or some of these details, I had some ideas. Okay, so first of all, one of the stats of the yacht says that it has stabilizers whilst underway. Now you might know the phrase zero speed stabilizers. Now that's actually a trademarked name by a company for stabilizers that work when the boat's not moving. The company's called Quantum, who builds stabilizers for ships. This one has stabilizers whilst underway, which means that when it's not underway, it has no working stabilizers. So that can be a problem. If you lose power on the vessel and the vessel is now not moving, then you've lost your stabilizers, right? So if they're in rough weather, high winds, and they lose power, then possible that the vessel is rolling heavily because it's designed to work with those stabilizers. So that's my first theory. If you go to Cantieri di Pisa, who built the yacht, it says on there, and also Yacht Charter Fleet, it says on there that it has a capacity for 10 guests in 5 cabins, plus a crew of 5 to 6. So that's 16. Now the report said that 18 people were rescued out of the water, including 3 kids, which means the vessel was overloaded. So now I'm not suggesting that a couple of extra people would have any stability issues, but the fact is that the vessel was overloaded. So that's means that when they organised the charter, the captain should have said you can't have more than 10 guests, right? Which didn't happen, which makes me a little bit suspicious about other things that might have been not done properly. Now again, I have no information to suggest that anything wasn't done properly, and I'm only going by the statistics that I can find online about that vessel. So now the vessel was refit in 2021. Now it's possible, again a theory, it's possible that they added things to the vessel, right? So very often an owner, when he buys a used yacht, he wants to make it his own. He wants to add things, and maybe he wanted to add some things on high up on the vessel, which were quite heavy, maybe, you know, like a jacuzzi or extra weight. And now, unless they counter that down in the keel, then it makes the vessel more top heavy, so it more likely to roll in bad weather. And that's another possibility. There's a drone flying.
I know.
A drone just flew overhead. So those are some of the theories that I have. So you have too many people on board. You have a refit that's just taking place in 2021, which suggests possible, that they changed the vessel in some way and added weight, and they haven't increased the ballast of the vessel. Now, if you want to know what can happen when you do that, you go back and watch my Yogi videos, which I produced last year about the sinking of SuperYacht Yogi, and that was one of the things that happened to that vessel when it was being built. Is the owner kept adding, I want this extra, I want this, I want to add an extra deck, and they had to add. They did add ballast to the hull to counter that extra weight up top, but the vessel basically was overloaded in the water, and it was still within the limits assigned by the agency that built the yacht, the rules and regulations. But once it got into rough weather, it was overcome very easily by the weather. Now, if they added stuff in the refit, that's a possibility. Like I said, I have no information to suggest that happened. I'm just giving you ideas of what I think could have been the cause, right? Most likely, with the information I have, like I said, is the vessel's got stabilizers whilst underway. Possibly they had an issue with the generators, with the engines, and the vessel was stranded, adrift, and the vessel was rolling, and it got into trouble because of the weather, and then it sank. Anyway, that's the information I have. Those are the theories that I have on what could have possibly caused the vessel to founder. But anyway, we'll find out in the future when the reports come out. And this does take a long time. I had some comments from people saying, why don't I follow up on any of the stories that I've done? Well, I mean, most of the stories I've done have been quite recent, only in the last few months. Maybe there's some like 5 or 6 months ago. It takes longer than that. There are some accidents that have happened 4 years ago that still haven't had a final report from the flag state. So, but I do keep checking, and I will bring you information on older incidents as soon as I have them. One thing about the last story I did about that yacht fire, there were a lot of people saying that yachts' fire suppression systems are very bad because I've reported on quite a number of fires. The thing is, depending on the size of the vessel, depends on the regulations the vessel's built to. It's a bit like a house. If you build a big house, if you have a house, or if you build a hotel, the regulations that are applied to that house or to that hotel are very different. And it's the same with yachts. As you get bigger and bigger and bigger, the yacht has to go through more rigorous fire protection and things like that. So like like voyage data recorders, fire suppression, etc., is more on the bigger vessels. This is one of the reasons why a lot of yachts, a lot of people ask, why is a vessel only ever 3,000 gross tons? Why is it never more? Or why don't they ever have more than 12 guests? Well, this is because of regulations. So the owner wants to build a vessel to a set of regulations. He doesn't want to have extra regulations, so he builds it at 3,000 gross tons with 12 guests, and then he's only required to build it to the lower regulation. Well, this vessel will have had fire suppression in the engine room. The fact is, I only theorized that it was an engine room fire in the previous video. That's why I wanted to make specific comments that these are just theories. I don't know how that fire started. It could have been someone smoking in bed. It could have been that in the galley, the chef might have been in there making something and he's had a fire in the galley. It could have been a lot of reasons. But in those areas, in the engine room and in the galley, they do have fire suppression systems. Now, a fire suppression system is only as good as the maintenance. It's only as good as the amount of water or fire suppressant that is in that system. And a big enough fire can overwhelm a fire suppression system, and fire at sea is the biggest threat to any vessel. People think it's sinking. It's not. It's fire at sea. So there are fire suppression systems on all super yachts. It just varies on what kind of system they have based on the size of the yacht and when it was built. But that yacht that sank, the last one, that caught fire, that was a brand new yacht. It was less than 12 months old. I'm sure it had the best system on board based on the regulations of that yacht. All right, guys, I'm going to wind up here because I'm rambling a bit. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the videos coming from a different location. Like I said, this is in Paracas. This is down by the Yacht Club de Peruano, which is the Paracas Yacht Club down here. So we're just getting a nice sunset in the background. All right, guys, I'll wrap up. So thanks very much for watching. Let me know what you think about this story. If you know any more information, if you were there, if you were a crew member on that vessel, be sure to get in touch. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.